Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today we're jumping into some malicious compliance. Before we start, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's completely free and you can always change your mind later. But if you stay, there might just be some cookies involved. Yeah, I went there again. Alright, our first story today comes to us from Tay3600. My failure to plan is now your problem. Let's jump right in. So I work in customer service in the automotive industry. As part of the services we offer guests, we perform a state-mandated car inspection so people can register their car with the state. It's a simple process that can take about 15 minutes if you book an appointment with us. But every month we get flooded with people who forgot to do the inspection on the last week of each month. It is a mad dash for last-minute appointments to fit people in before they're late. Now, we don't make money off this type of service. In fact, it's a state-set fee, and we realistically lose money doing these inspections on labor cost. I preface this to state that doing these state inspections does not benefit my shop, but we do it because it helps our customers. Front door opens to a male Karen coming in on a Friday afternoon midday. This distinguished gentleman, we'll call him Tim, walks in at around 1 p.m. in the afternoon and slaps his keys on the countertop, informing my front counter teammate that he needs an inspection now. Now, understand that even though all of our appointments were booked up days ago, we will still bend over backwards to help someone out. We totally get that things don't always go according to plan in life, so we do what we can to help. That is, as long as you're a nice person. When you start trying to dictate how we're going to help you, that does not fly at my store. Tim decided that today he was going to do exactly that. After we advised him we can either wait almost 2 hours to try to work him into a slot as we process our already scheduled appointments, or book an appointment for him next week, Tim lets us know that booking an appointment the following week after the deadline was not an option for him, but he's got time right now, so he's going to generously give us 2 hours of his time, and we need to figure out how to get him in. Cue malicious compliance. I stepped in to take over the conversation for my front counter staff who have been dealing with him up until now. Okay sir, we're happy to help. I'll get your keys out to the technician, you just have a seat and make yourself comfortable. Immediately, I walked the keys out to my technician with explicit instructions. After explaining to my tech that Tim is acting like a dirty trash can full of poop, I gave the express instructions that we will not even touch his vehicle until 2 hours have passed. Mind you, as Tim sits in the lobby stewing, I have the pleasure of servicing several other customers who set their appointments days ahead of time. 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and even a 7-minute inspection for an all-electric car. Things are flowing so smoothly for all of the appointments who did the things the right way, and it's showing on Tim's face. After the first hour, Tim finally has the courage to speak up. I really appreciate y'all trying to work me in, but do you know how long it's going to be? No, Tim, you don't get to be nice now and try to expedite your vehicle. You don't get to be nasty to my staff and still get it your way. Sorry, Tim, we're still trying to get it fit in, like I said, about 2 hours before we can see the truck. Mind you, the lobby's totally empty and all customers have already been serviced early. It's perfect. Fast forward another hour, and his multiple attempts to make small talk to amend his horrible manners and treatment to one of my staffers, and his cars finally being brought into the shop bays. Then moments later, my technician walks into the lobby with a giddy smile. Boss, his truck needs wipers to pass inspection, they're torn and fail the vehicle. Passing on this wonderful news to Tim, he agrees to have the tech install some because he of course did not bring any of his own. At this point, I feel quite satisfied that Tim's learned his lesson with a little additional help from the universe in him needing to also replace wiper blades. But apparently, the universe was not quite done teaching Tim a lesson. His car still failed the inspection. The last part of the test is run by a computer that reads the internal control modules of the car. It's a totally automated process that can't be tampered or affected by the inspector. The only thing that can interfere is if the cars had the battery replaced and those control modules have been reset. But that's exactly what Tim did. Hours before coming to see me, he replaced the battery and cleared those exact modules. So at the end of the day, Tim was his own worst enemy and failed his own car, having to book an appointment for the following week. But with a little help from the universe, he hopefully learned a very valuable lesson that service workers are not your slaves, and to always tip your waiters. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Chance University 92. It says, I guess he didn't know about the old standby of here's $100 for you and another $100 for the tech. For lunch, of course, also to not be a dick. Yep, a little bit of respect can go a very long way. And also, your failure to plan does not constitute an emergency on my behalf. So what I'm getting out of this story is that the guy replaced his battery to clear the codes out of the sensors on the car, meaning that if there was something that was wrong on there, it's been cleared out and he didn't want it to show up on the test, but the test knows when they've done that, so he really screwed himself. That's the kind of person that when they're walking out of your store or dealership or whatever it is, with their tail between their legs, you just want to stand back and give them a rousing round of applause. Our next story today comes to us from With Trees. Control your friends. Okay, let's jump right in. Disclaimer, I tried to abridge some details, both in attempts to make it shorter and in order to avoid accidental recognition. If something is messy or unclear, it might have to do with said clumsy attempts. Background: I work in a community-related nonprofit. The chairman of the board, Anthony, not real name, is trying to get into a political career. It's no secret that Anthony and I do not see eye to eye ideologically. I try to be diplomatic about it for the most part. However, he makes it a point to both shoot down everything I say and attempt to steal it and present it as his own, while clearly not understanding any of it. I'll also note that part of my job is focused on minorities, which generally get either ignored or approached in a very clumsy manner. Recently, Anthony launched a policy open table, an idea that he stole and misunderstood from me, but that's a different problem. Since I figured it's going to be a group of white men with ideas that are the policy equivalent of a stale instant vanilla pudding, I invite friends to join. There wasn't really any strategy involved, just people I appreciate and thought would want to participate. As we arrived, it became clear that I was right to a comical extent. Half the table was a group of white men, and the other side of the table was people I brought. The men Anthony invited didn't hide their disinterest and disrespect for whatever a group of women and other minorities, and ones who didn't bother themselves with respectability games at that, had to say. Attempted to ignore or dismiss them, a couple of my friends were having none of it and kept calling them out. They started arguing loudly. At some point, I got a text message from Anthony sitting across the table saying, "Control your friends. I can't have any discourse going like this." Malicious Compliance, Part 1. As I found the request incredibly ridiculous, I screenshot the conversation. As we left, I sent it in our group chat on WhatsApp. My friends, who were quite upset and frustrated, decided to put up a bit of a theater. Next meeting, I arrived with two of my most outspoken friends, Liz and Rhea. Except this time they showed up in full professional mode, equipped with a written agenda, references, and prepared talking points. They present themselves professionally, Liz being a lawyer and Rhea being a social worker with 5 years of fieldwork down her belt. At first, they said nothing. As soon as I spoke, one of the men began arguing. I nodded, Rhea. Rhea cuts him off, citing the precise number supporting our claim, where the numbers are from, and ended with the remark that this information was, in fact, freely available for anyone who made the minimal effort to look it up. The man moves in obvious discomfort, but attempts to double down, now claiming that the plan we were suggesting is not legally plausible. Liz dryly quotes the exact law he was referring to, and without stopping to breathe, explains precisely what the law in question does and does not cover. It is perfectly plausible, and in fact, was done before in Example 1 and Example 2. Again, pointing out that it was a non-vague, explicit wording. All it took was checking. The conversation got heated again, with Liz and Rhea slipping back to calling out the other's misogyny, transphobia, racism, and general incompetence. I wait a little before saying quietly, Liz, Rhea, that's enough. Liz and Rhea, as we agreed on ahead of time, immediately stop arguing. Anthony looks slightly terrified. Malicious Compliance Part 2. The second part wasn't really orchestrated, but was way more satisfying, since we started talking about politics a lot more as a result of the inciting incidents, mapped all of the resources and players on the field, created work plans, and so on. We realized we could very well organize for real, so we founded an operation group. As of last week, members of the newly founded operation group met with the VP, who happened to be my direct boss, and the CEO on 2 different topics. Hand 2 position papers regarding policies, listing precisely the same things that were on our agenda to begin with. Now, instead of nicely discussing it casually with Anthony and his friends, allowing him to take credit for it and use it to his benefit, it was sent to the entirety of the board and overseeing committee, with the full backing of the VP and CEO, who pointed out publicly that it supports my work plan, which Anthony went out of his way to shoot down. At the moment, he's mailing me constantly asking me to schedule a meeting on integrating it into the organization's official policies. My boss replied politely on my behalf that I'm quite busy, and he will have to wait until I have the time for him. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called HMS Slartybartfast. Okay. So to be clear, Anthony likes stealing others' work and taking credit for it. In this case, you were able to steal back your idea, get it implemented, and take into account the very people Anthony was trying to exclude. Bravo, well done. Especially when Anthony is all but asking you to do it. OP responded to this one and said, yeah, and turn around the power balance while at it. We're not trying to make him sit down and listen anymore. Funnily enough, this is precisely what we were trying to tell him in the first place. You want to run for office? We can get you the backing nobody else has. You know, OP might actually be doing Anthony a favor by exposing him to the criticism he'll receive when he actually runs for office. He can learn from this experience and become a better and more successful politician. But I highly doubt he'll actually learn, so moving on. Our last story today comes to us from Just Doing It. Don't want to pay me for my work? Alright, I'll undo it. Let's jump right in. Not exactly sure if this is malicious compliance or pro-revenge, but here we go. I'm naming the company name because I've had many issues with them, and everyone should be warned. So, have to say this first, beware of working for the delivery service Shipped. Today, I picked up an order for delivery. It had gone promo, money added on Shipped. It was for delivery in a town that is 15 minutes from the store of purchase. Alright, not too bad for $16. Especially since I live within 10 minutes of the town I was delivering to. I take it. I go to the store, receive the groceries, and I'm on my merry way. I send a text to the customer that I'm on my way and will reach them before said time. No response, so I give a quick call. It does a weird thing and ends. Doesn't even go to voicemail. Huh, whatever. I sent them a text. Get to the house, knock, no answer, leave the bag outside the door, and walk away. Make it to my car, start said car. Woman pokes her head out the porch door as I'm about to leave. You were very lovely, woman on porch, thank you for your kindness. Waves me down, looking highly confused. So I, unfortunately, stop the car and get out. Woman asks what this is. Why, your order, ma'am, I say, looking all happy. I didn't order anything, she says. Oh, no. Did anyone else in the house? Nope. Oh, no. So there is a wrong address on the delivery. I've never dealt with this before, and I have to leave to catch a movie with friends in 30 minutes. Cue me going next door at each house on that small street while reaching out to Shipped support and while trying to call the customer again. Does the same weird thing with the phone. Give up on that. Proceed to knock on doors. Nope, nobody's. Alright. Shipped suggestion? Just drive back and return it. No, Shipped. I'm a delivery contractor. I'm not a volunteer, nor am I a charity. I am hired by you to fulfill deliveries. As far as I am concerned, I have delivered to the address on file. I'm not reaching into my bank account to correct someone else's mistake. For the total extra 30-minute round trip, I'll need $10 on top of the initial pay. Thanks, gas, for being so expensive. No, they say, we'll give you $8.10. No, I say, I have plans in now 10, what should have been 30, mind you, minutes that I will now miss. $8.10 will not cover the gas and wear and tear for the extra 30 minutes. I will need no less than $10, or I will leave them on the curb of the noted delivery address, 580 Blanking Street in Dickoff. We'll give you $5 and can't do any more than that, they say. Wait, I say, $5 on top of the additional $8.10 to make it $13.10 on top of what I'm being paid, or just $5? I want everything in writing, specifically because I knew Shipt was going to do exactly what they did next. Oh yes, $13.10, but we can't do any more, they say. Fine, I'm returning it to the store now, I say. Go to the store, do the whole return process, get in contact with Shipt as they directed me to with the requested information. Get a message on my phone from Shipt to the effect of, your order has been canceled and $20.80 issued to your account. What? I contact Shipt, say I'm confused, say it looks as though they were only giving me $5 on top of the original order payment when they said I would be compensated $13.10. I was told, oh, we won't give you any more than $5. But you already said, is there someone else I can speak to? Nope, $5, take it or leave it. Alright, fine. Don't want to pay me the agreed upon wage? That's a breach of contract, meaning you never actually paid me for this return. So what did I do? I marched right back into the store, asked the worker who had taken the return what she had done with it, snatched the bag up, strode up to a manager, informed them of what happened, and told them since I wasn't being paid to return the groceries, I would be taking them back to the last place I was contracted and paid to deliver them, 580 Blanking Street in Dickoff. Told him if he wanted to be recompensated for the groceries, he could charge Shipt, as they were not willing to pay to have them returned. Messaged Shipt from my car informing them of this and gave them 30 minutes. Yep, plans definitely ruined. It's now 2 hours later to rescind their rescission and pay me what they actually agreed to and owed me. Had to reach out 2 separate times because the first girl, despite me being very polite, would not go to anyone else, such as management, to ask for an exception to this policy, considering they had literally told me they would pay me more. Actually had the gall to ask if I had taken the items I had returned, and all I had to say in response was, "Did you pay me to return them?" Second girl was much more helpful, reached out to her team to see if anything could be done. Shipt still wouldn't be swayed, but I thanked her profusely for at least trying. So in the end, they said they wouldn't do any more than $5. I told them, alright, I reject that offer. Just pay me for the original delivery because 580 is where they'll be. You can pay another Shipt shopper $15 to come get them. Drove back, it was on my way home, dropped them off, and left. I'm not a charity, I don't work for free, and I certainly don't pay to work. I'm going to be messaging ShopRite Corporate directly along with New Jersey Labor Board because this is not the first issue with wages I've had with Shipt, and honestly, ShopRite should seek compensation from them. Have fun paying for the more than $13.10 of groceries that are now rotting on the curb, Shipt. Now, Opie added an edit onto this one at the bottom responding to people who said that they were being entitled. It says, side note, to anyone who may say, you're being entitled, no, I am not. It is not entitled to expect an agreed upon wage. It is extortion to expect me to work for less than agreed. Imagine you accepted an order from a delivery service, fulfilled that obligation, and suddenly they decided to pay you less than half for that completed order. Or you're working a job and they suddenly cut your pay without any notice or agreement upon your part. As I explained to them, I never would have returned the groceries for $5 because it wasn't my mistake. Would have returned them no problem if it had been. And I would be paying to return them, plus the missed plans, plus the lost time. So no, I am no way in the wrong, and I don't care what anyone who thinks otherwise has to say. Well, OP, I've done a little bit of this delivery stuff myself for that DD place that's up here in Canada. And, well, I can tell you one thing, the address that comes up is the address that you take the things to, you drop it off, you don't look back, and you get out of there as quickly as you can because, honestly, you fulfilled your obligation, and they have to pay you for that. And you don't need to go back and fix a mistake that wasn't yours to begin with in the first place. The customer who didn't get their order at whatever address they're at will call back in or place another order through the app, and somebody else will deliver it, and that company will end up paying more to get that stuff out to the proper address. Again, not your problem. Drive away. Don't even look in the rearview mirror. You're done. Check out all 3 OPs linked in the description down below. I thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.